Now the first job that we want to do is route out the cavity that the contrasting timber is going to fit into. And what we have here, and again this is from Woodpeckers. Let me just move the router out of the way for a second. This is one of the phenolic plates that Woodpeckers produces, and this, funnily enough, is the poker set. When you first look at it and you're thinking, well, I'm going to produce an infill, so I'm going to cut out one area and then I'm going to cut out the shape and insert it in there, you need to have two sized templates, wouldn't you? And that does make sense. But what you can get tripped up on, you'd think that, well, that must be to cut out one part of it, and that's to cut out the other part, and it's not actually correct. What you do is, when you're going to cut the template, you use the same hole for both the infill and the area that you're going to insert it into. And we have this spacer here, this brass spacer. It's got a little O-ring inside there, just so it's held securely onto the template guide. And that fits nice and neatly on there, and obviously the O-ring's holding it securely in place. So that when I use it, firstly, that's going to scallop out the cavity I need, and then when I want to cut out the infill part, I will remove that and then go around the same pattern again to cut out the infill. Now that I've done the outline, I took that quite slowly just because I had to do it all by feel as I was going around each of these small diameters. Now I'm actually just going to work back and forth with the router bit just to clean out all that material in there that I don't need. Alright, well that's step one complete, and there are a few tiny bits that I just haven't quite got it down, and I can either just go back over them with the router or just take a chisel and just get that whole base nice and flat. Alright, step number two is I now need to set up again, and this time I need to do it for the cutting out of the insert. Now in this case, again, I'm not caring about this material. I would actually normally use another bit of sacrificial timber behind here. I'm just going to cut the pattern out here. Drop that on there. Remember, I'm still using the same template that I used for the insert. And that's actually holding that board there quite firmly. You can, if you want to, take it a little bit further and actually put a little bit of double-sided tape behind the template and hold the board in place. But do remember to then take into account the thickness of that double-sided tape when you're setting your router bit height. Alright, now we've got the pattern, moment of truth, and it looks like I've made a few nicks and bangs unfortunately in this one, so I'd have to actually do that job again if this was a real one. Anyway, that drops in, and then as you can see we end up with a nice contrast pattern there.